Hello again, welcome back to Football Spineline, sponsored by our friends at Renault. We start with some breaking news from SkySports.com, who say that Patrick Vieira has decided to stay at Inter Milan. Arsene Wenger's been talking about getting Vieira back to Arsenal, but the midfielder's decided that after a good pre-season, he's going to take his chances at Inter Milan under Jose Mourinho. And also for the last 2 months, we've had a competition on the show to win these boots, the Total 90 Shoot 2 boots from Nike. To win them, you need to guess the amount that the Bayern Munich winger Franck Ribéry moves clubs for this summer. Now, for a long time, lots of you have been telling me that Ribéry even won't be leaving, but the Sun say that actually it could yet happen. They say that the Chelsea owner Roman Abramovich is flying to Germany himself to negotiate the deal. The figure being quoted is £40 million, but I think it might well be more than that figure in the Sun today. Now, the rumour has been that Ribéry signed a pre-contract with Real Madrid to join them next year. But as he's got quite a few years left on his contract, he wouldn't be allowed to even speak to Real. So I can't really see how he would do that. Anyway, Chelsea look to be the favourites to get in. There's still time to get your entries in and make sure that you include your boot size. Elsewhere, Fabio Capello's not messing about. He's done the equivalent of telling David Beckham to come home now, otherwise his dinner will be inside the dog. Well, actually, he's saying that unless Beckham moves to Europe this winter, he's got no chance whatsoever of making the England World Cup squad for next summer. So expect some more bust-ups with the LA Galaxy fans as Beckham manoeuvres his way out of there. Spurs, Chelsea and AC Milan all in the frame to take him. Tell me where you think he should go. The Sun say that the great Portsmouth exodus is set to continue, with Manchester City's search for yet another top defender taking them to Sylvain Distin. City don't want to pay West Ham's £15 million asking price for Matthew Upson, and they definitely don't want to pay the £30 million that Everton want for Joleon Lescott. Quite right too. Also in the Sun, Everton looks set to pull off something of a coup with the move for this man. He's Stéphane Sessegnon, and he's an extremely good player. It's probably why he'll cost upwards of £14 million. And now you can see why Everton want so much for Lescott. Sessegnon's 25. He's also being watched by Chelsea, Arsenal, Liverpool and City. And although, you've got to say City watch everyone really, so it looks to be a fight between the clubs who finished between 2nd and 5th last season. Some news in brief for you. Bolton and Blackburn are both interested in the 27-year-old Nantes midfielder Aurélien Capoue. Liverpool are ready to pull out of the race for Hull's Michael Turner after being quoted £12 million. Burnley boss Owen Coyle's making a £2.5 million bid for Reading's Andre Biquet, and the Times say that Fulham have pulled off a bit of a coup. They've agreed a £2.5 million deal to sign this man. He is Carla Uche. He's a powerful Nigeria striker who plays for the Spanish club Almeria. At his previous clubs, he helped Wisla Krakow win the Polish League and 2 domestic cups, and his goals helped Almeria win their first ever top flight promotion a couple of years ago. Time for your messages, and lots to get through today, but I'm going to get through a fair few. On our spy email, Mengistu is in Africa, and he's among a number of you wanting to know why I think Arsenal will win the title. Well, I think in terms of attacking options, Arsenal look really strong, and once they sign the Bordeaux striker Marouane Chamakh, they'll get even stronger. Yes, they do need a strong central midfielder and a commanding centre half, but I think Arsene Wenger will address both those areas in the coming weeks, and then I think a few people might well change their tune about Arsenal's chances. Just out of interest, a good piece by Manuel Almunia in the papers today. Try and have a look at that. Jack Mather watches our show all the way from Canada every day, and he agrees with what I was saying yesterday about Rafa Benitez perhaps having a bit more money to spend than he's letting on. Jack also wants to see at least one big name player going to Anfield before the end of the winter. We talked on this show about David Silva being on the horizon. I think it could happen, but Man United also like him, and it's getting between them and Liverpool, and it really would be too close to call as to who would get it. Maybe Rafa's Spanish connection, but I really couldn't say. Where do you think he'd be better off, United or Liverpool? To James Baldwin, I think there's no chance of Thierry Henry going back to Arsenal. Daniel's from Sweden and he's worried about Arsenal's title chances, as he said the side don't have enough experience. Denilson's too thin and Vermaelen needs time to acclimatise. That's all true, but I think the fact that Wenger brought him in so early means he'll get the time to do just that. I also think it's important to have some patience in this transfer window, because we've seen here on Spy before that the big clubs are prepared to wait all the way until deadline day to get the players that they want. More messages for you, including the names that you've been suggesting for my fantasy team in a bit, but time for some more fantasy transfer gossip. This is on the back page of the Daily Star today. Sven-Göran Eriksson, Notts County's Director of Football, wants Sol Campbell, who's available on a free transfer. Sven's ready to pay £90,000 a week in wages to Sol to tempt him down to League Two, but if Sol goes, it would do the world of good for their promotion prospects. In our own Daily Mirror, Sam Allardyce at Blackburn's made a cheeky move for the 33-year-old right-back Michel Salgado, who's just been released by Real Madrid. Interestingly, Salgado is ready to make the move, and we all know what Big Sam does for the careers of older players. Hull looks set to finally sign a player. In the last few hours, Reading have confirmed that they've agreed a fee with the Tigers for midfielder Stephen Hunt and personal terms with the player. Now, Phil Brown, I'm not going to do the megaphone today. I know some of you have been saying I've been a bit hard on him. But Phil Brown needs just to do the deal instead of talking to the press about it. Hopefully they can pull that one off. Arsenal are trying to do a deal with Newcastle for the highly rated young keeper Tim Krul. He was fantastic in last Saturday's 1-1 draw with West Brom. But Arsenal have been watching him for months and look set to move in again for him. More bad news for the Newcastle's fans. The Daily Mirror's Unimanager Fantasy Football Competition has started. This is my team, you can see it on the screen. And I'm a bit undecided as to whether I need to make changes, but what do I know? What I do know is that I need a name for my team, and I like some of your suggestions too. Eamon Ryan in Limerick in Ireland thinks I should call my team Fat Viduka's Army. Tom F. Random says D-Dog's Spectacular Tricksters. Good try, but I don't think so. Keep them coming. There's a prize for the best one. Also, a few of you have been asking from the USA if you can sign up to our the Manager competition. I've checked it out, asked a few people, and sadly you can't for all sorts of logistical reasons. But you can still enter the competition for the Ribery boots. Get your entries in. Chelsea having a real go, as we've said, at signing him. And I just want to read this message from Surge TV, who disagrees with me over the fact that I don't see Joleon Lescott as being as good as Rio Ferdinand. He says here, are Rio and Lescott on the same level? I don't see why not, seeing as how Rio looks great because he's partnered by Vidic at Man United. Are you telling me that Lescott makes more mistakes or is less of a goal-scoring threat? I would take Les and JT over the pairing England use right now. Well, the first thing to say, Serge, is that Lescott's not a regular in the England team, so I'm not really sure on that basis how he would cost as much as Rio. Also, this is coming up for Rio's third World Cup next year, whereas Lescott hasn't played in any. Yes, Lescott does score from set pieces for Everton, but so too does Rio for Man United often. In any case, when you bring in a defender, you want him to do his job at the back. Anything he does from set pieces is a bonus. And one final argument to sort you out. Rio and John Terry at the back for England have helped the country to 7 World Cup qualifying wins out of 7. Do you really want to change that partnership? I don't think you do. We've got so many more of your messages to get through. Keep them coming. We'll get through them in every one of our shows. In the meantime, we've got more Football Spy for you tomorrow. I'll see you then.